Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm relatively soon after I followed up my Disney rankings with the post-Renaissance. By the way, I'm still pronouncing it Renaissance and not Renaissance. This was certainly an experimental era. There's the strongest variety in styles, but the tone feeling consistently inconsistent. The animation also jumps you up, with the 2D character designs looking more stylized and distinct with each film, on the start of the CG movies. Some of the experiments will end up not working. The series is mostly known for failing to continue the Renaissance strengths. Showed the studio start to fall behind Pixar and DreamWorks, with their attempts to copy them begin to fail. However, there's also some great underrated films that happen to fall in this era. This is certainly the most divisive era. Most people seem to agree on the general quality and there's a couple good films, couple weak films. There's different opinions on what the films are. I also have a large fan base on the internet and I'm wondering if I would rank certain films, yo. This definitely has nothing to do with how they grew up in the 2000s. You're probably not immune to this as you'll see from one film from this era, and you'll see that in a couple of months when I get to the revival. My opinions are still my opinions, but it's best to acknowledge that they're like nostalgia bias. So, usual video ranking the films in an era. I already voted for all of these as I rewatch the Yeffin movies, from Dinosaur to Walt. Some consider Prince and the Frog post-Renaissance, but they are wrong. This is already the youngest era, so what are the best and worst post-Renaissance films? Yeffin, Dinosaur. This was really boring and forgettable. I tried to watch it back, I've got most of my thoughts. What I originally saying yet about. First, the score of the music is great and intense, are crafting an impression of wonder and grandness. The fact I even noticed that so much shows how unimportant everything else is. Score also sounds too much like The Lion King and The Bug's Life. I will rather be watching both of those by a mile. Everything is done in a generic way that's hard to find anything original. It's not just generic, it's beyond the generic. Generic main character is one of the worst examples of that trope. I didn't care about any character here. The monkeys raising a bigger animal was done the year before in Tarzan. There's some themes of masculinity I'm yet behind that could be interesting, but the pace is spent just walking. It goes on so long that I just wanted to end so many times. The animation almost works in some shots, but the AEC animation can't achieve any of that well. The live action backgrounds don't blame the character animation. I need to apologize to the Capric animation style for saying that in the end. This is just to manage to cop Disney cliches and tropes. I've missed the appeal on what works for these movies. Even knowing it's one of the worst Walt Disney movies, I didn't think it would be this bad. It's the worst from this era and the whole studio. What's next? 10. Chicken Little. I don't know how to feel about this. On memory it's not that bad. But parts of this movie are very frustrating to watch. The movie is too mean-spirited. Chicken Little is an okay protagonist, but the movie is the whole town hating him. The movie randomly switches premises a lot. It's a sports movie for a bit and then aliens. I will complain, but the sports and alien movie route could have been done a lot worse than it ended up being. There's many dumb decisions characters make throughout the movie. The climax isn't too bad. While I agree Bob Cook is hateable for all the story, at least he apologizes. There's more hateable characters, but I don't want to defend this at all. The thing that annoys me about this is the outdated attempts at comedy. This is the epitome of trying to be like DreamWorks without understanding it. The modern references and music don't work. It's enjoyably bad in places, but not worth rewatching. It's a movie where others have covered it in more detail and I don't have much original to say. Only thing, release the full version of that movie at the end. 9. Home on the Rage. I consider putting this at 10, but Chicken Little was slightly worse. This is still annoying with bad comedy and characters. Well, the villains are fine, and there's Buck the Horse. The main 3 cows and the rest are either annoying or do nothing. The story's generic, but there's a decent idea of catching a criminal. The animation is nice, but a lot of the time feels wasted across the movie. The series isn't bad, but this is what a lot of people think it is. Annoying moments in a movie that does nothing and I have nothing to say about. Don't want to sit through it again. So far this year seems fine. These 3 movies have some fans, but most agree I'll be near the bottom. What could possibly ruin this? Oh. 8. Treasure Planet. The animation community won't agree, but I don't care. This is not an underrated masterpiece. I like the slightly more this watch, but it's still quite average. The story isn't very much, it's just a basic telling of Treasure Island, but with steampunk. That could be cool, but the space aspect is very used. They are sent to one planet that doesn't add much. Only one character is found there and the portal to the treasure. There's needed more things to happen. The dialogue is also poorly written, especially the start being for a tell not show. The animation looks good in some shots, but the CG blending and character design isn't done well. It doesn't go together in full. Why do people find this underrated? But I do see why people like these characters even if they are generic. Long John Silver is a complex villain and his scenes work, There's a unique style going towards it. I like the distinct parts of this era. However, I can't totally look where this gets wrong for a couple of good spots. Muppet Treasure Island is not good, but it's better than this. 7. Brother Bear. Am I really putting this ahead of Treasure Planet? Yes, I am. Popular opinion, but the folk-line soundtrack works far better here than Tarzan. Songs like Great Spirits I'm on my way are great and better than anything in that movie. The score also goes well together. Conflict between the human brothers is interesting. The main character isn't likable, but has an interesting character arc. The kind of villain in the story isn't really a villain. Wanted to use a young Will's Kenai who went to fight it. Younger Bear also was annoying when he easily could have been. I hate the culture percent in the start, but it goes downhill with a strange aspect ratio change. It's your talking animal comedy. Could have been worse, but it's not necessarily good. When this push in the middle drags out. I also don't buy the found fine with the Brother Bears. Why did he stay as a bear? It should have been more self and it should have been an emotional moment. The attempt to be a Renaissance movie fails. Nice animation and music doesn't make it good. It's fine. 6. Atlantis the Lost Empire. This is probably the biggest change in opinion from this rewatch, because Atlantis is a good movie. Even if it ticks off your word on like about this era. It has two main characters. They are good, but there's barely any time for them. Ayo and Kira get enough attention, and it's finally a world of variation compared to most Disney films. The rest only appear in the group, and we only know superficial details about them. It's also very fast paced. The adventure starts quickly and the characters speak quickly. Feels like it's been put on 1.5 times speed. Get the nice slower paced moments of them exploring Atlantis, but that's only a small chunk because the climax starts. Action scenes could also be better. It just gets bored when they have to appear. With that said, I like how this differentiates itself from most Disney. 2D animated style has a different character design, and I like how it applies to the voyage. The overall backstory created is interesting, and there's little moments targeted for kids. It feels well that Disney is going in a different direction. Video may be generic in personality, but the commentary involving him works. This feels like a modern Disney movie but 20 years earlier. I think it's the best search trilogy of Disney sci-fi adventure movies. Strange World isn't fast, it's not second. Treasure Planet fans are big over the yet, so I can say it's the worst. 5. Meet the Robinsons. This is the Bowyer Hat Guy movie and he is the best character. Disney in 2007 really gave us him and Doofenshmirtz, so it's a win for comedic villains who are pathetic but also sympathetic. He has many of the funniest moments, but also an interesting backstory. There's a well-executed side twist, paced alongside the predictable main twist, that still ties their message. Keep moving forward. Bowyer Hat Guy could have moved on, but Jawai wants revenge with Doris. That's the best part, but Lewis and Wilbur are good too. I also like how this part is handled. But it falls into a problem. Why do you need to make this family so big? The grandfather, Frog Lady, and Super Delivery Man are cool, but most are not, and awkward. The future is also lacking. It's not that far in the future of things. The way it's trying to show a future world is forced. The animation also shows they are new to CG. I wish there was more subtlety because some scenes were out there great. I like the scene when they visit the past orphanage. It's also a really funny movie. The Robinson is solid, but it's not the most underrated post-Renaissance film. Could argue all of this era is underrated to an extent. 4. Fantasia 2000. Fantasia's concept easier used to sell to a sequel. This has many fun segments and I can't find a proper bad one. The Tin Soldier and paper ones are weak, but there are some appeal in them. My favourite is Noah's Ark with Donald Duck. It balances the comedic elements with something that still feels in tone with the grand music. This feels a bit too comedic and yet serious in tone. The concept should be more music based, when the classical music is more of an afterthought to most segments here. Nature-wise objectively the best, for how beautiful it tells the story. The live action segments are disorganized. There's two main narrators to push and celebrity guests, with one funny comedy. The first felt like a serious opera. In contrast, this is stuff you'll see at a Disney theme park. Caesar doesn't have a segment to Born a Dinosaur one. Disney had to make up for that in the next movie though. Segments themselves are your fun, especially visually. This whole era is about changing tone animation styles, so the start of the post-Renaissance was the perfect time to finally make a Fantasia sequel. There's a variety of CG, stylistic colours and designs. So the source represents a nice classic to follow the original plan Fantasia. So it's also making important posters. The different segments show a point to where Disney is currently visually. I would want more Fantasia segments, whether that means a film or Disney Plus shorts. But that likely won't happen when Disney wants to remake Moana. It's not even 7 years old yet. 3. Walt. Not many people agree with this being so high, but I love Walt. It was once my favourite Disney movie, so I might be nostalgia behind, but I was partially expecting it to not be as good as I remembered. But it still holds up really well. Not for the reason I thought. First, some negatives: the animation is basic. There's some cool techniques used when inside the show itself, but outside just boring outside. Comedy can have some funny moments, but it's often lacking, and you can tell there's a dream anticipation in of this. The effort to make a dog be evil if this is real makes little sense, especially when you consider the lack of retakes they allowed. Like what this means for how Bolt's life was molded, so he can't be a regular dog again, but it could have been done better. I'm tired of this comparison, but the Truman Show does a better job at giving it a TV show. The audience knowing it's dramatic irony, but it's not as effective. However, I think it should be looked at for what Bolt does, and ask what would happen if Truman left the set and found out but had to decide what to do with their life now. This conflict started with Eric. Bolt misunderstands Mittens as working for Dr. Kayako, so they go on a journey to Hollywood with a comedic side character. However, it gets interesting earlier when Bolt realizes and yearns to be a dog and ends up finding a home with Mittens and Rhino. But Bolt still wants to go back to Penny, that causes a question whether she was real or not. That is a unique way to handle the premise. Mittens was abandoned before, so has no hope, but sees for herself that Penny is different. That later was an effective misunderstanding of foil scene. Climax makes sense and the ending leaves on a happy note. This conflict started dumb, but went more complex as we went on. The barking at the moon seems very emotional, as showing the characters happy together. Rhino's also great. I don't find him annoying, and he's the glue that makes the trio work. He encourages Bolt he can save Mittens from the pound, and encourages Mittens to foil Bolt. He also was willing to die for the mission, and that's dedication. I love this movie, and I think I went over the main things just by my position on it. So, stop calling this anti-cat propaganda. The point was that Bolt beat because the show was in with anti-cat propaganda, not this movie. I do want to put this higher, but can't reasonably. 2. The Emperor's New Groove. Our problem with this era is having too much characters that I can't care about more than 2. The reason I like this and Bolt is the limited number of characters. This sticks to 4 important characters and a shorter story, but uses that to great comedic effect. Story and pace is too much travelling around, and it honestly should have been a musical. Those are some of my only problems. Cusa was a great protagonist who naturally grows throughout the movie. He never got a chance to learn empathy when the monarchy made him believe his superiority to others. Hatcher is likeable and serves a strong role in interacting with Cusco to make him change. Yzma is entertaining villain and Kronk is Kronk. These 4 characters are great. The animation is solid and the comedy masters not needing to understand whys. For example, the typical Devil and Angel Schroeder representing morality and decision. Devil says, "What if I do this?" which confuses Kronk and the audience to wonder what does that mean. The Angel goes against their point to say no, he's got a point. Why is that a point? Comedy is better by not knowing. This movie is full of great humor like that. It's a strong movie and only beaten by 1. 1. Lilo and Stitch. This is one of those movies where everything just works. Seems to have many characters, but I like all the ones given attention. Somehow both an alien movie and true family movie which should clash, however, they juxtapose and start to combine by the end. The opening scene establishes 626, followed by establishing Lilo, seems a strange shift, but it also tells a similar story. The movie appeals to me because both main characters are artistic coded, and express how it's hard to find a place. Stitch going from an alien made just to destroy to find family is great. It's used to make me more aware of how much I like major character arcs. The ending had a climax, followed by someone deploying my discussion in an interesting way. The Johanna means family is a strong motif for the movie. The comedy works, mainly with Jumbo and PK. The animation fits for the human designs and creative alien designs. I do overall feel of music as well. The nice songs work without needing to be sung by characters. This reveals it's the only Disney movie from this era that has heavy merchandise. Stitch is one of Disney's main mascots. It's probably the only movie in this video that most casual Disney fans even know exist. Lilo and Stitch is the best Walt Disney post-Renaissance film. In conclusion, I'm not going to show my overall list so far on screen, but there's a link in the description to the full list. Including films I haven't got to yet. This era doesn't have much of the best and quite a lot of the worst, but has enough decent movies in there. The fact that I changed it and it's so divisive shows this era's strengths. As for the revival, I'm not going to start it yet, but I'll try to release it in the summer. There's only 8 films and they'll be easy to watch when the quality is so high. Look forward for that. If you enjoyed this video, consider pressing subscribe and watching more. The end.